proceed, I just have, before we proceed, I just have one question of the applicant, and I don't mind if the applicant's counsel answers this. Is the applicant proposing to have the sound wall that was discussed in the noise section?
Yes, the internal thing, yes, that is part of the proposal, considered a type of amendment to the
Okay, thank you. Folks, the way this will proceed at this point is we're going to open the floor up for questions. I cannot emphasize enough questions of the witnesses you just heard. So you have a sound person, a glare person, and I'll just say someone general. You've heard the testimony. This is for questions. And this is to anybody in the audience that has a question. We will circle back later and go through any evidence by any objectors. We have two people that did a notice of appearance as a party. And then anybody after that.
We collect a few different types of information. This info generally falls within two broad categories.
Anybody after that can make comment, whether it's for or against. So at this point, I'm going to open the floor to questions. If you have a question, identify who you are and what your address is. Are there any questions? Sir, yes, right in the middle.
So I'm Jim Fagan. I'm at 210 North Old Stone House Road. I just have a question about...
Could you spell your last name, please?
F-E-G-E-N.
Okay, before you go,
Yes, sir.
anybody that stands up and gives their name, please spell it for the court reporter that's here. Thank you.
So I just have a question about the lease. Is the lease contingent upon the approval of this project? The lease that's been signed?
Scott?
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Who else has a question? Very far in the back.
Okay, Rhonda Bender, B as in boy, E-N-D-E-R, 60 Shelburne Court. My question is about temperature, so I'm not really sure who to direct that to.
Just throw it out. Someone will answer.
Were there any temperature studies done around the solar farm? I know that I have read different things online about how the temperature goes up around the solar farm. And I was on the Carlisle Pike on June 23rd.
I'm sorry. This is just questions. I know you put in an
Okay.
agreement of appearance,
So
and we'll
were
get
any-
back to you when you do
Were
that.
any studies done on the temperature difference around the solar farm based on just the common field?
Scott? Were there any temperature studies done as part of the solar panel installation? No. Okay. No. The answer is no.
Okay. May I ask more than one question?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
As you said.
Okay, I believe it was approximately $350,000 decommission cost for the project at the end of the 25 years or whenever it's slated to be taken out. Is that in today's cost or is that in 25 years from now? How are we assured that's going to cover it?
I can answer that. That is 25 years from now. It assumes a 2% rate of inflation each year till then.
Okay, thank you. Is there any benefit to the residents with this proposal? What is the benefit? We're giving up some things, but what's the benefit?
Chief, you want to take that?
Oh, I sure can.
Grab a mic, please, so everybody can hear what the answer is, and as particular the court reporter.
The benefits of solar is a big question.
Close to
In area.
I think it, definitely can.
Pull the lever up.
Hello.
There you go.
You can look at benefits of solar from a lot of different perspectives. One of the main benefits is SolAmerica will pay to upgrade any needed system upgrades. Our current grid is pretty fragile, and solar is a big part in helping increase the reliability of the overall grid. As I stated earlier, this type of solar installation directly connects to the distribution grid, not the transmission grid. So it's a more efficient use of power. We're not pushing power across the country and losing all that line loss. It's another advantage of having small, local produced power. It also helps to even out the power supply costs by providing a stable, reliable source that doesn't change in price.
Thank you.
Has there ever been any consideration to put these massive solar panel farms on top of existing buildings that have flat roofs instead of putting them out in our farm fields?
I believe that question is about putting these on roofs and other locations, I've heard.
Right, empty parking lots, buildings that have been destroyed or need to be destroyed, warehouses, we have plenty of those around here.
Yeah,
Those
that's
types
true.
of
There
buildings.
is plenty of distributed generation. Distributed generation on rooftops is for the use of that property. It's a private decision. A lot of companies are putting solar on their roofs. Walmart's a big one. It is more expensive. It's really hard to retrofit a lot of buildings. They're not designed to hold that on the roof.
I think her question is, was there any consideration given to putting this large type of solar array on a structure, a roof, parking lot?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
I have a question.
Hold on. I need to find out if she's finished.
Okay. My next question is on the noise concern for the area. Does the solar panel continue to make noise at night? Will there still be that ambient noise going out
No.
when the sun is not shining?
No, the inverters and the transformers stop working when the sun is set.
Okay, but if it's running all day long while the sun is up and farm equipment is not running constantly all day in my area. This is gonna run all day in my area, so you're saying it's not impacting, but it is. Am I gonna still hear it? You're putting up a wall and a fence. Am I still gonna hear that in my backyard at all?
No, we determined that the sound levels that are associated with the solar array equipment is significantly less than the ambient conditions. So what we're predicting, you're going to basically hear what you're hearing now, the ambient conditions. You're not going to be able to hear this thing off the site.
Okay.
This is not an industrial facility. Solar facilities are really quiet. It's kind of silly that we're here talking about noise from a solar facility, but they do generate a little bit of noise. If you put your ear up next to it, you can hear it. You can certainly hear it. But as you move more than 50 feet away from these utility pads, you can't audibly hear it. The sound walls were installed or were suggested after, I think, the planning commission meeting when sound was brought up and the concerns were brought up, and I said, well, we can put sound walls around them and that would certainly reduce some of the dispersion, which is what they went with.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sir, name and address, please.
Yeah, Bob Bruce, 250 North Old Stonehouse Road. I have a question for the project manager. He indicated during his comments that they're going into the PP&L grid for general usage. You could just announce the megawatt facility going up the street. Are they tied to sending this for the 25-year lease directly into the grid from PP&L, or do they have an option to go to a single customer? Are they required by law, by regulation, by agreement, only to provide it into the PP&L grid, or can they change their mind and make more money by selling it to the next aberration we have in Township?
The aberration being the data center?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand the question? Can you change where the electricity is going from that
No,
property?
no, not where it's going, and we have a purchase agreement, we have an interconnection agreement that we need to follow.
With PPL?
Yeah.
I don't think he answered the question. I know he has an agreement with PPL. I stated that in my commentary. All right, can he change that and provide it to a single source? Can he?
Do you understand the question?
I don't believe that's the case.
Well, it's not,
I'm not a lawyer.
belief.
Hold on.
Fact.
He answered the question. He doesn't believe that that's the case.
Well, then somebody needs to check.
Now, you have another question?
No, that's all. That
Okay.
wasn't answered to my satisfaction. You know, I wanted to ask.
Sir.
No.
No.
Oh, he just answered no.
Can you spell your last name?
B-R-U-C-E.
I'm Skinner.
Hold on.
It's B-R-U-C-E.
Okay. Sir,
Stan Hurst, I live at 1225 Red River Circle.
I'm sorry.
last name?
Hurst.
Spell it.
Please speak up.
H-U-R-S-T.
I didn't get your.
She can't hear you.
Okay, my question is about the
Your name,
profitability.
how do you spell your last name?
Stan, S-T-A-N.
I'm sorry, I didn't get anything you said. Say everything over.
State your name.
You're at.
As far as the overall
Oh,
cost.
sorry, hold on. Spell your last name.
H-U-R-S-T.
Thank you. Listen, I'm doing this because there is a record of this hearing being
I
created.
understand.
It is extremely important. If your
Okay.
name, you don't want your name to appear, then don't say anything. It's
Right.
going to appear. So everybody, please pronounce your name so everybody can hear it and spell your name.
Okay. I'm asking about the overall profitability of this. Is it being government subsidized? And the cost of building it and the amount of energy produced over 25 years, is the project profitable? Because I know if we compare it to windmills, they are not profitable.
Right, we're not talking about new and
I know that, I'm just
We have
using
two
it-
questions.
Okay. The question is it profitable overall for building, generation, and decommissioning?
Yes.
And is that with subsidy or is it on its own?
It's on its own. If you remove all subsidies from all energy, solar is by far the cheapest. We're the cheapest source to produce.
So it's not subsidized.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I never finished. We are a privately funded company, and we have equity investors. As with, not with oil and gas, you can write out 100%
I'm sorry.
of your.
The question is the project subsidized? And I'm assuming you're referring to through some sort of government, federal, state, or whatever grants or
Right.
financial
Yes.
benefit.
Yes, there are no grants, no subsidies that we are getting. What I was getting at is there are tax credits available for investors up to 30%.
Okay. My second statement is.
It's a question. I'm looking for
I think
questions.
It's a question. What can he compare 40 decibels to? I'm a telecommunications engineer for over 50 years. I understand dBA, and 40 dBA
I'm
is
sorry.
not quiet.
I understand your question. Is the noise
me-
man under, sir, you asked a question. I don't, please, if you want to testify later on or have comment about this, that will be the time to do it, later. There's a question on the floor for the noise person to answer.
Okay, the question is compare something to 40 dBA
Okay.
that makes a 40 dBA level.
Okay, quiet, everybody be quiet. About 40 decibels.
That's not
Once you start talking, it's, it'll be in the 50s to 60s.
I'm about
On
minus
baseline,
7.
ambient
I am
conditions.
minus 7.
Condescending.
40 decibels. Quiet.
Gentleman in the back,
Right now on my.
that's you.
All right.
David Chick, C-H-I-C-K, 1233 Redwood Hills Circle. I have a question for the gentleman in the blue jacket here who testified. I don't know his name, I apologize. Are you,
Mr. Geist,
Same guys?
Oh, are you a qualified, property valuation expert?
I am not.
Did you do any studies about the effect on property values in this area based on the addition of this solar project?
We did not.
Are you an expert in noise?
I am not.
You testified, correct, to the noise experts' characterization of the noise. You testified that you agreed with it.
Correct.
But you are not an expert on noise.
Correct.
Correct. Have you had any conversations with the local fire departments to ensure that they are capable of handling fires from these sorts of facilities?
We have not had specific conversations with the local responders.
Have you had any conversations?
Scott, have we had any conversations with the local responders?
I don't think so, I'm not sure.
Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Sir, you can center.
Ron Stalford, I think I heard that they said that these notices for these certified letters were sent to all people within 2,500 feet. Is that correct?
I don't recall the specific distance, but I believe that is correct.
Okay, I never got one, and I'm within 2,500 feet.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I understand.
That's not a question. But they said
No.
that they sent them out to everybody, is that correct?
Yes, we took it.
I never got one.
I'm just going to say this. That can be a problem through the post office.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's good that you're here.
Okay,
Good that you're here about
I
it.
looked through the,
Ms. Asper, before you proceed,
Yeah.
I have a entry of appearance for a Jason Duncan,
Yeah.
attorney for Josh Asper. Who's Josh Asper?
My husband over there.
And are you representing both the Aspers?
I represent Josh.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Can I piggyback off of his question?
You can piggyback on
Just
anybody's
ask,
question.
is there a way for them to prove that they did send a letter to his house?
It's in the
Like, I'm sure they would have a list of who
Right,
they sent it
and
out.
they made reference to that certified mail mailings. So that would be one way to do that.
Yes. Would they be able to prove that they actually mailed that to that gentleman?
I don't know if you want to spend the time to
I'm just
go
asking.
through 20, how many hundreds are there? 260. We can
Okay,
check. We
that's
can
fine.
check at some point and let you know that.
Yeah, okay. My question would then go to Mr. Geis for the shrubs that they're going to put around the, partially around the array. So you said that they're gonna be 6 feet tall. Is that the tallest that they get?
No, that would be the minimum height at which they would start.
What would be the tallest that they get?
It depends on the species in which are selected as part, that would be ironed out through the land development process. I don't know what the maximum height
What
would
would
be.
the maximum height be to be sufficient so it would not be seen to change the character of our neighborhood?
I'm not sure at this time what the height the maximum height would need to be in order to.
Okay. Are you going to take into consideration people's homes, like my house is adjacent to the property, I also sit higher to the array. So I will see further into the array even if there are bushes that are higher, so it will still change the character of my area of the neighborhood. Will you take that into effect when you're putting the plants in?
We'd love to work with you on that.
Okay. Are you going to work with all of the neighbors because Ridge Drive, that is their backyard?
Certainly.
So you could put the array the whole way, or the bushes the whole way around this facility?
I'm just talking about the type and placement of the proposed landscaping.
Yes, I'm asking because there is a whole neighborhood section that runs right here. Their backyard is like here, which would be, this would be their backyard. To be seeing this, which would change.
We would address that during land development.
Land development is too late. At that point, we can't, we're trying to say, prove that it won't change the character of the neighborhood.
I think he answered the question.
I think you said they're gonna work with the neighbors.
But if we don't know how tall they are, then you can't say yes to it's not changing the character of the neighborhood. Correct? If you can still see it, would you say it changes the character of the neighborhood?
I'm not here to answer that, but I don't know if the
Well, I'm
applicant has. an answer.
asking, obviously, you can't answer that question, but I'm just saying, in your mind, if this was your neighborhood and you could still see the array, would it change the character of your neighborhood?
I understand your question and the point that you're making, and I think, I'm sure the board does too.
Okay. And then also on page 7 in your SAE cup paperwork, it actually says that there's going to be barbed wire on the fence, but you stated in your testimony that there is no barbed wire. Which one is that?
No barbed wire.
And how can we be guaranteed that, since it's actually in the application process?
We would verify that during the land development process.
Okay. Thank you.
Now I'm going to go to the attorney.
Thank you.
Certainly.
My name is Jason Duncan. I represent Josh Ashford. The bulk of my questions are for Mr. Geist as he testified regarding various aspects of this project. So the first thing I want to ask you about, and this is to touch on one of the questions from one of the gentlemen here earlier, where he asked you about whether you conducted any economic studies regarding property values. And you said, no, you have not. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are you aware of studies that have been done in this regarding that topic?
Are you aware of the economic value studies for solar projects?
I'm aware of studies, yes.
Please keep your voice up.
So, I'm aware that there have been studies done on property values.
So is it my understanding that, Mr. Geist, that all of the information you have about economic values of the properties in the neighborhood come from your employer, in this case, the person that hired you?
Sorry, what's the question? What we're asking about property values, current
Right.
property values of the?
Well, you testified about that there would be no effect on property values, but I'm trying to figure out where did that knowledge that you testified to come from? Was that all based on what was provided to you by who you were hired?
That's based upon other various solar projects that we've worked on. What I based that testimony on.
So are you aware of a 2023 study that was done with a federal grant that actually concludes that property values in rural settings around these solar arrays actually drop by about 4.5%? Are you aware of that study?
Are you aware of this study?
I've not heard that one.
No.
Okay, so you're not aware of a study published called House of a Rising Sun, the effect of utility solar arrays on housing prices?
I'm not.
Okay. And specifically, you're not aware, they did their study in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and specifically focused on rural areas in their study, and across the specifications, you're not aware that they concluded that the average property values in rural areas dropped by as much as 4.85%.
I'm not aware of that.
Does that, now that you're aware of that, does that change your opinion as to whether or not this affects property values?
No.
Okay.
But you don't live there.
Right. And is that because you were hired to not say that?
I will not answer that question.
Okay. All right. The rest of my questions to you, Mr. Geist, are about things that I believe you might actually be qualified to talk about. So let's first ask about the stormwater planning in this case. Essentially, if I understand your testimony, you concede that a stormwater management plan was not submitted with this permit application, correct?
We do not submit a official stormwater plan. We have addressed how the stormwater management requirements will be met.
And basically, if I understood your testimony correct, it's trust us, we know what we're doing, and we'll comply.
It's through the land development processes when stormwater approvals will be granted.
Okay, and we're just to take your word that you're going to comply with that, correct?
I'm a qualified professional engineer in the state of Pennsylvania with plenty of experience in stormwater management, and I'm very confident that we
understand your testimony correctly, was based on the fact that you said DEP has determined that stormwater, or for stormwater purposes, has determined that the panels in the array itself are considered pervious. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. But you're also aware that this board and this township are not required to follow the DEP standard, correct?
They certainly have their other regulations, but the state NPDES requirements for pollutant discharge requires that is the standard.
Well, you're aware that this board and the township are authorized to determine whether or not the panels themselves are considered pervious or impervious. A simple question, you're either aware of it or you're not, sir.
Let him answer.
There's a section on the purchase in here that I wanted to reference. Right in the solar ordinance here, ordinance 5/2011, this is section 1460A12. The last sentence in this ordinance section states, principal solar energy system owners are encouraged to use low-growing vegetative surfaces under the system as best management practice for stormwater management. It's exactly as I testified to.
That doesn't answer my question. Where does that tell us whether or not the panels themselves are considered pervious or impervious?
That's not described in this solar ordinance.
Okay, that was my question, sir. And you're aware that many municipalities throughout Pennsylvania have actually found that the panels themselves are 100% impervious, correct?
I'm not aware of that.
All right. And the municipality ordinances in this case, as you just said, do not discuss whether or not the panels themselves are pervious or impervious, correct?
There's not an official decision on whether or not they are pervious and impervious. It says there's the pervious surface limitations applicable to the zoning district.
And sir, if I understood your testimony correct, when it came to the leaching of the panels, the testimony that as I heard it and as I understood it was that there's no danger of leaching from the metals in these panels because essentially they're impervious, correct?
They're solid, not considered. It's not pervious, different definition.
But for purposes of the stormwater determination, if they were determined to be impervious, that affects whether or not you can meet the stormwater management plan. Isn't that right?
Could you repeat that question?
Sure. If the panels themselves are determined to be impervious, that in and of itself would affect whether or not you can meet the stormwater management plan, correct?
We would have to consider that potentially, but that's not currently as it's listed in the ordinance.
All right, and in the ordinance itself, it says that you're required when applying for the permit to submit all requirements with the permit that comply with the ordinances, correct?
Correct.
But we didn't submit anything for the stormwater planning, correct?
We submitted how we would manage stormwater requirements or the stormwater runoff on site.
Okay, and that's essentially, we'll figure it out during the building stage, right?
No.
All right, sir, were you aware that there's actually a sinkhole on one of the neighboring properties?
I was not aware of that.
Does a sinkhole play into how you would manage the stormwater management plan in a case like this?
We would provide a full geotechnical analysis during land development stage in order to address any potential concerns of karst topography on site.
How would stormwater and how, first of all, if you know, what causes a sinkhole to begin with?
It's the underlying geology.
Okay,
and limestone formations.
And does water and stormwater and runoff, does any of that play into whether or not a sinkhole forms?
It does. We'd have to look at that as part of the geotechnical analysis.
And that hasn't been done yet because you're going to do that at some later date.
That would be part of the land development process.
Okay. concerns regarding stray voltage and its effect on livestock?
Are you aware of stray voltage and
Yes.
its effect on livestock?
Yes.
Well, sir, I'm asking you. If somebody else is better
You didn't
suited to answer
specify.
that question?
You're still speaking with Zane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes or no?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay. As part of the plan that was submitted, and as part of the documents submitted with the permit process, were there any documents that addressed the stray voltage concerns?
No.
Were there any documents submitted that showed the impact on wildlife, not just endangered species?
No.
Was there any part of that that was submitted that talked about the local farm animals and its impact on the farm animals?
No.
Was there any documents submitted as part of the permit application that talk about view shed?
No.
There was a sound assessment, though, done and submitted with as part of the permit package.
Correct.
Do you know whether there was any site-specific studies submitted with the permit application regarding various environmental concerns and impacts?
The narrative that was submitted addressed, in my opinion, all of the potential environmental impacts that would occur and how they would be, if there were any, they'd be mitigated.
Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, sorry. The narrative in which was submitted as part of the application addressed certain environmental concerns and how any of them would be mitigated.
Did that include concerns regarding livestock?
It did not.
Okay. And from a stray voltage concern, are you aware of what stray voltage is?
I am not.
How about radiation and electromagnetic fields? Are you aware of any radiation concerns or electromagnetic fields?
No.
Do you know whether or not with the permit application any of those concerns were addressed?
The narrative portion of the application specifically mentions that there's no concern with electromagnetic frequency or telecommunications.
And does the plan as submitted recommend the placement of the inverters, transformers near the center of the facility?
The plan as shown is where they are proposed to be located. They were already pushed back once away from the property lines to address concerns.
And would you consider that in the center of the facility?
I would consider the second one in the center. There's one in the center and one that's well beyond the required setback in the front there within the fenced-in area.
So beyond the setback, but towards the front of the property, if I'm looking at the map correct? Correct. And you realize that as part of dealing with radiation and electromagnetic fields, that it's recommended that all inverters and transformers be placed in the center of the facility, correct?
Could you specify what that recommendation was sourced from?
Sure, it comes from a Penn State planning recommendation that studied solar specifically in these areas of Pennsylvania.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Okay. And sir, you said that you addressed the environmental assessments and concerns in the actual application process for the permit, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us in that application permit, how is toxic and hazardous waste liability dealt with?
So I think we testified to the fact that these are, the panels would be recycled and at the time of decommissioning. What is the specific liability which you're mentioning?
Well, the toxic and hazardous waste from the cadmium that's in these solar panels itself, right?
The compound is cadmium telluride.
Right.
And that
Is
is
there
not.
anything that addresses the leaching and toxic and hazardous waste from potential leaching?
We, that's not considered toxic and hazardous and a concern for leaching.
Okay. And why is that?
As Scott testified to earlier, it's the cadmium telluride is a combined compound that is very hard to separate. It's not damaging or harmful, and it's in that combined form. It's hard to separate the two.
Are you aware of any studies that tell us that?
This is your testimony.
I am not.
Okay. And your testimony and opinion that that is the case is based on what?
It's based upon the applicant's experience with these compounds and materials.
So it's based on the fact that the people that hired you told you so. Is that right?
It's based upon all the projects that we've been involved in with them. Correct.
As part of the submission for the permit, was any consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service done specifically regarding this site?
A PNDI screening was submitted, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife was notified when that's submitted. And to my knowledge, there were no threatened endangered species of concern with U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Do you know whether or not there's a cell tower anywhere near this proposed development?
Not that I'm aware of.
Sir, as part of the decommissioning, as part of the plan that you submitted, does it call for the disposal of the solar panels or recycling of the solar panels at the end of its life cycle?
It calls for the recycling to the maximum extent, and the rest of the disposal would be disposed of properly if it was not able to be recycled.
So that's questions I had for you. For our sound engineer, I forget your name. What's your name?
Bill Coffin.
Oh, thank you. Sir, I just have a couple of quick questions for you. If I understood your report right, that on page 5 it says, and your testimony says that ambient sound measurements were not conducted in the project area. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so you relied on sound levels that are assumed to be the level, correct?
They're based upon the Acoustical Society of America's standards for land use, so yes, they are assumptions based upon land use, yes.
And on page 7 of your report, it says the operational noise from inverters and transformers. It says, according to the manufacturer's specification, the noise emission produced by the inverter is rated at 73 dBA at 1 meter. Is that right? Okay. And for the transformers, it says that the noise level's up to 64 dBA at 1 meter.
Correct.
Is that right? Are those noise levels then what prompted the change in the noise wall plan?
No, the original assessment indicated that it was within the parameters of the noise ordinance for the township, without the noise walls. Noise walls were an afterthought based upon some of the public outcry in regard to the sound emissions, perceived sound emissions from we looked into a sound wall.
And then I guess my last set of questions is for our project manager, Scott. Is your first name? What's your last name, sir?
Temple.
Temple? Mr. Temple, sir, I will address these concerns to you. As to the stray voltage concerns, did that figure into any of your determination in moving forward with this project?
No, typically stray voltage is not an issue with community solar projects.
Are you aware of how the U.S. Department of Agriculture defines stray voltage?
Yes.
And how do they define it?
I cannot quote that.
would it surprise you to learn that it says a small voltage, less than 10 volts, measured between 2 points that can be simultaneously contacted by an animal?
Correct. Sounds correct.
In fact, you're aware that some animals, especially cows and pigs, are more sensitive to stray voltage than people are, correct?
True.
And in fact, you're aware that if livestock such as cows and pigs are subjected to continuous stray voltage, their eating and drinking behavior may be affected, correct?
That is true.
And are you aware from the various other projects that you have worked on that some farmers have stated that underground power lines contribute to the problem with their livestock? Isn't that right?
Yeah, typically, and my understanding is most of that stray voltage comes from underground power lines on the farm. Faulty electric fences, faulty wiring. I've done extensive studies on stray voltage on projects, and we found that we actually reduce stray voltage because we are an electron sink.
But there's still stray voltage concerns with any power plant, correct?
No.
Which is essentially what this is.
No.
No, there's no stray voltage concerns whatsoever.
There are always concerns for stray voltage. Stray voltage exists everywhere because we use the earth as the negative return. That's my understanding of electricity.
So I want to make sure that that testimony is clear. So are you saying that there is no stray voltage in this case?
From my experience and the testing that we've done on these arrays, it actually reduces the measured stray voltage.
So not only is there
cannot
no
guarantee that will happen on this site.
I'm sorry, I missed the end of that, and I apologize. I should have let you know.
I said I can't guarantee that will happen on this site because we haven't completed the design yet. But no, stray voltage is not a typical concern.
Well, it's not a typical concern of yours, but it is for the farmers in areas of these type of arrays, correct?
Correct. I've developed a solar farm directly next to a dairy farm.
In fact, studies have shown that stray voltage likely, we don't know how it affects the animals, correct? It's inconclusive at best. Would you agree with that?
I'm sorry, just restate one question at
Sure.
a time.
Would you agree that the studies regarding stray voltage and their effects on the local livestock are inconclusive at best?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Well, however you'd like. However you
He doesn't know how to answer the question. Next question.
All right. So because these facilities are power plants in essence, there is always a danger of deadly electric shock, correct?
Correct.
Which is why you put up fencing and the warning signs and all that kind of stuff as well, right?
Correct.
As part of your current permit, did you do a site-specific assessment of how it would impact local wildlife such as birds and bats in the area?
We do our standard environmental investigations as required.
So did you do an actual study, site-specific, regarding the habitat of local wildlife?
No, we didn't. It's a field.
And are you aware of a study by the U.S. Department of Energy that summarizes the impact of these type of solar arrays on birds, saying that it isn't well understood and more study is needed?
I'm not aware of that particular study, no.
Did you study the local bird life and local bat population in this area?
No, I did not.
So are you aware of the fact that there have been some fire issues that have occurred with these type of solar arrays pretty recently.
What do you mean by fire issues?
Sure, that there was a fire started on the solar power plant panels fairly recently on one of these solar arrays. I don't believe it was your company though, but you're aware of that?
A panel?
Yes.
I don't believe the panels can catch on fire.
Okay.
Inverters may, but they shut down automatically if they fall.
Were you aware of a local fire that occurred underneath the panels from the vegetation catching fire?
I'm not aware of the incident you're speaking of.
Are you aware that that's a danger in these type of settings?
It's a very minimal danger. That's why we have emergency response plans prepared.
Did you address that danger in your application?
Fire danger and management is always addressed in our applications.
But you didn't address the stormwater concerns in your application, correct?
There are no stormwater management concerns. There's no stormwater management concerns, and like we said, once design is completed, then we can actually technically address the existing situation.
There's no stormwater concerns because you haven't done a stormwater management.
Asked and answered. We all get the point that it hasn't been done. They've indicated in their application how they're going to address it.
Are you aware that the township ordinances actually say that you're supposed to submit such a stormwater management plan with the permit application? You're aware of that?
Yes, sir.
So that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else other than Ms. Asper have any questions? I'll circle back to you in a minute.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Yes.
Nancy Bookwalter, Book, Walter, 51 Ridge Drive. God forbid this goes through, the whole construction thing, how long will that take from start to finish?
How long does construction take from start to finish?
It depends on weather, depends on other factors of availability. Typically, it's 2 to 3 months. It can take longer. Oftentimes, construction's done in phases where we'll come in, we'll do the road preliminary work, stage it, and then come back for the piles, and we'll come back with the electricians and hook it all up.
My other question is, how many posts, or whatever they call them, do they have to hammer into the ground for whatever it is, 8,600 solar panels, like?
I don't have that number.
What was the question?
The number of poles.
I don't know the number of posts.
There can't be an exact number right now.
Do you have like an estimate? Is it like one per solar panel, or is it?
No, they are on a racking system, so there are less poles than panels.
Ms. Asper.
Okay, my questions, actually somebody has for me. Is there a containment plan for the 2 transformers that are liquid filled?
Is there a containment plan for the liquid and the transformers?
There's a
containment answer, or tell her the answer on that.
I'll come up here to you.
Is it shown on there?
We don't have it specified, but is there a plan for containment of the liquid within the transformers?
Yes.
Okay, so you're aware it's good practice for the engineer to have that contained. Okay. And if a fire were to occur, where would the water come from? Because we don't have public water, we're all on like sewers, wells.
That's a question for the fire control.
Have you spoken with our fire department about any of this?
I have not. That is typical in our process, though.
Okay, so you don't even know if our firefighters are solar trained?
No.
Okay, I know that for a fact. I did ask them. They are not. They
Yeah.
have no solar training. no solar fire training for
Yeah, that's,
it, so.
like I said, we do provide that.
Okay, is it typical for other projects when you do this that you basically, all the important stuff comes on the end side of it after you receive a permit? So you get the go ahead, but then you do all the important information?
Yeah, we need to prove the use, and then we approve the design.
So after this is approved here, I'm not sure of how this process works. If they say yes, the supervisors, then does that mean it's 100% a go, or are there things that happen after that?
No.
No. So like if things don't align, like stormwater ends up being an issue.
Yeah,
That's
everything has to be re-reviewed against the
Okay.
conditional use approval.
And my next question is for you, Jane. Are these panels aligned in this sheet flow the way that they would do it normally, like to prevent the stormwater runoff? Are they using sheet flow for this design?
We plan to use the vegetative meadow cover beneath the panels in it to comply with the height requirements.
So they're not going to be turned correctly to go down the slope of the
We have to check the topography again. I know generally speaking it does flow from kind of northwest to the southeast there and down towards the southern part of that parcel. There is no concern with the alignment of the panels on it. As mentioned before, there's very minimal grading operations here, and as long as we're complying with the height of the panels there, any potential erosive effects that could occur would be addressed with an NPDES permit. Most conservation districts require that to be reviewed prior to granting earth disturbance approval.
Okay. In our new ordinance that you're not under for this project, sheet flow is going to be in our actual ordinance. If the supervisors were to add that as a condition to the permit, and you had to change the way the panels lay or are facing, would you do a whole new glare study for that? Because obviously changing that would change.
Scott,
We were required to, like, I mean,
if we reoriented the panels to,
I'm sorry.
so.
Speak up.
So the question was, if we had to reorient the panels in order to follow sheet flow conditions, what you had mentioned is in the proposed zoning ordinance, not in the current one, would we have to redo studies? I thought that, Scott, if we reoriented panels, we would have to look at studies again, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that would be addressed then if
Yes.
that would come up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Marilyn Sig, S-E-I-G, 1275. Why would you vote yes to something like solar panels to replace beautiful farmland?
The time,
No benefit to us.
and the time right now is for questions of the applicant's witnesses. You'll have an opportunity to make comment on what's being proposed, but that's not the time now.
When do you vote?
They will vote after they hear all of the evidence and hear the comments. So are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
Frank Haycock, 1231 Redwood Hill Circle. This is just a question.
H-A.
H-A-N-C-O-C-K, just like John.
Thank you very much.
This is just a question on the security lashing. So the question is, and it's really two-parter. If something goes wrong, who finds that out? If something, a hailstorm or some kid gets inside, climbs the fence, who finds that out?
If there's damage that can be sensed remotely, SolAmerica would. Otherwise, we can.
And where is that?
Hold on, let him finish the answer.
Okay, go ahead.
If someone called the township and say something broke, we would hear about it from them. But as far as what we can monitor remotely,
And the remotely is in Atlanta, is that right? So
Yeah.
Atlanta says something's wrong. Again, this is just a question. Who did they call?
our local site supervisor,
And-
our local construction manager.
And where's he located?
I do not know exactly his location.
Okay, so who goes and checks? Just asking the question.
Okay, let's ask the question.
You have high voltage wiring and high voltage, someone can't read. I'm just saying. Right?
It's underground. You can't touch the high voltage, it's underground.
Okay, so, but they're inside or something goes on, or there's a hailstorm. So from Atlanta to somebody here who's going to call somebody here, right? So let me get to something catastrophic goes on. A kid's inside, a hailstorm. What's the flash to bang of getting it fixed? You see what I'm saying? Flash, boom, it happens, and then the bang, something's done to it.
I guess that would depend on what happened, when it happened, how it happened. If in your example of a hailstorm, like I said earlier, we'd know because of the loss of power from the damage.
Take the other one, a kid's inside or somebody's got inside.
And yeah, I guess that's a 911 issue.
Okay, and just final thing. Has there been any thought of putting like a human there to make sure this doesn't occur?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, sir, name again.
Stand first. And my question is, does any of the equipment emit frequencies beyond human hearing? In other words, are there?
I think there's questions outstanding.
I would say
It's very
yes.
clear.
I mean, there's higher and lower frequencies that humans can't hear that they would generally put out.
So, was anything done to determine the level of these higher or lower frequencies that animals can hear that we can't?
No.
At this point, it's time now for any evidence that anybody wants to present, specifically an objector. And I'm talking about evidence. Evidence is not, I feel this is terrible, I feel this is great. It's evidence. Yes, ma'am.
Can I use pictures as evidence?
Yes, they're
That
gonna
I
be
took
marked
myself?
be marked as exhibits.
I can send them, they're in my phone. I can email them to the township?
That will be fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Rhonda Bender, B-E-N-D-E-R.
Ms. Bender, if you don't mind, could you come up front here?
Sure.
Because the pictures that you're going to talk about, you need to show first to the applicant's counsel. I don't want to see them.
Okay, okay.
And the board won't want to see them until after you show them to counsel for the applicant. And then you tell us what the relevance is of this photograph.
Ms. Brennan, I just want to clarify the record. We have people asking questions that, are they parties or not parties?
She has
I just want to
indicated that she wants to be considered a party in this proceeding.
I just have a question, just to clarify for the record, if I can ask you
I
a
understand,
question.
yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you state your address for the record?
60 Shelburne Court, Carlisle, PA 17015.
And how far away are you from the array?
Walking wise,
Yeah,
a
straight line.
mile. It's a mile walking, less than a mile. I don't know straight line,
Wait, you're a mile or less than a mile?
less than
Do you know
if I walk.
if you, like a straight line? Like how
Way
much?
less, maybe half a mile.
You're a half mile away?
Yes.
Okay. And what road are you on?
Shelburne Court.
Can you see the property from your house?
No.
Okay. I typically would object to parties coming in that don't live with one more than a half hour for being a party. What's that?
Not a half hour.
Folks, please, the reason he's doing this is reasonable, because the law has requirements for someone that's not in close proximity of the property being developed to have party status.
Correct.
That's why he's going through this exercise, because she is presenting what I believe to be maybe evidence, as opposed to comment. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah,
that.
that's correct. If you're a half mile away, I would object to your being a party. You certainly can provide comment.
Gentlemen, you have an objection to party status for this individual? You have an objection to party status for this individual. In the past, you've been very liberal about this, and my request to you, or recommendation to you, is that in spite of the objection, you hear what she has to say in terms of evidence.
Yes.
Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do I still need to show them first?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Show them first and then explain it, correct?
Yes, they need to see
Okay.
them.
What we're looking at here is the temperature on my car, and then another one on my car. You can see the times here, 5:14, and 5:05. Okay?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so on July 23rd, I was traveling down the Carlisle Pike by the CB High School. Happened to look at my temperature gauge in my car, and it said 100 degrees. And so I snapped a picture of it because my mom doesn't live in the area but used to, and I wanted to say, look how hot it is today. Drive home, this was at 5:05 on June 23rd in front of the CB High School. Drive home to Shelburne Court at 5:14, which is approximately 5 to 6 miles from the high school. 5:14, in my driveway, the temperature was 93 degrees. That's a 7-degree difference in driving 5 miles. As the bird flies, I'm not sure exactly how far it is, but I'm sure less than that. But my testimony is that I feel the temperature is going to be an issue. We like our nice, cool, comfortable air in the country, and this is just my evidence to show that it was way hotter just a few miles from my house in front of solar panels than it was out here in my rural area.
Thank you. Are there any
Thank you.
questions of this witness?
No
Mr. Singh?
questions.
Thank you. Anybody else want to present evidence to the board? There being no indication, sir, are you presenting evidence or you want comment?
Well, David Chick, CHICK, 1233 Redwood Hill Circle. You said,
Wait, before he starts, I'll do that same. If you're in testimony, just the same questions.
What's that?
Your address
1233 Redwood Hill Circle.
and how far away are you from the?
Well, I'm within the 2,500 feet apparently since I got the letter.
Okay. No objection.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We're all-
Sir, what do you want to say?
So, in terms of evidence, as I understand it, the evidentiary standards here are fairly loose, correct?
The rules of evidence are loose. In terms of a proceeding like this,
That's where I'm going.
the rules of evidence.
I would like to present a couple of articles on property valuations. I understand I don't have anybody here to testify to those, but they correlate with what my question was earlier to this gentleman and then the attorney was presenting over here. So it would substantiate that.
Well, let me make a comment.
But I also understand.
You have heard expert witnesses testify on reports that they made and the opinions from those reports. The problem with what you want to do is you're going to present studies that the applicant can't cross-examine people on.
That's correct.
So technically, no, you can't do that.
Okay.
Do you have those studies handy that you can submit them?
No, I would probably have to submit them after.
Let me ask the applicant's counsel, what is your position on whether he can submit such studies?
I would agree with you that without the expert here, that we don't do the cross-examine. I would question the relevancy of a national study on individual. If someone had an actual appraiser here to testify as to individuals' property value diminution based upon this, that's a different story, which is really what the standard is. It's not in general whether properties go down or up. The question is whether my property will go down a specific thing. So if he has testimony about his particular property, that's fine, but I would object to the general standards.
That's fine, I'll withdraw it. I'll address it during comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any other, hold on, any other evidence? Talking about evidence. Mr. Duncan, do you have any evidence to present?
So unfortunately, our expert wasn't able to be here due to, as a job during the day, and she couldn't attend, so we'll save that for later. But there is a piece of evidence from, that was just a simple Facebook study that was done by my client's wife that addresses these type of issues. And I'll show a copy. I brought some copies with me. I'll show it to council.
Do you intend to offer that as evidence?
Yes.
A Facebook study, please explain
So it
the
asks
source,
Sure.
and
It's
the relevance.
A Facebook study done by my client's wife regarding the house values, as we just discussed about, and willingness to live next to a solar panel array, such as the one being proposed. And the responses, there were 66 responses as to how they answered those questions.
I would object to this Facebook study coming in here.
None of the people, I assume, are available to be examined about their, hold on, about their opinions concerning the Facebook study.
I would agree with that. That's,
Yeah, I would object to this. Again, if individuals want to offer comment on some of the topics listed in here, that would be appropriate, but not based upon this, would not object to this.
May I add that nobody on my Facebook post, actually even to this day, knows what is actually happening to us in our hometown. Nobody has any information on this whatsoever. So this was done as a blind study.
Which would probably be better reason to object to it. The individuals have
It would
no
be
idea
better
what's
if
going
they
on.
knew that it was affecting me personally.
Gentlemen.
Do you live near a solar
there has to
farm,
be-
sir?
hold on.
Yeah, that's what I
Do you live near a solar farm?
Gentlemen, there is an offer of an exhibit and an objection. And my interpretation is it would be hearsay if people are giving opinions like that without the opportunity for cross-examination. So you can rule one of two ways. That it's admissible as an exhibit in this case to be given whatever weight you think it should have, or you can ask or decide that it should not be introduced into the record. What decision would you like to make?
I think it's more comment than evidence.
I'll go with that.
Would you like to have it admitted then, even though it's for comment and you give it weight, whatever weight you want to consider it? Or reject it as an exhibit? It's your call. Okay. It'll be, I'm sorry, they're saying it doesn't hurt if it comes into evidence, so it'll be admitted and given whatever weight this board may decide to give it. So if we could have that marked, and I will have that marked as Asper.
Yes.
Exhibit 1.
There's many copies of it, but
Thank you.
I don't know if you want me to hand them to you or.
No, we'll have her mark the one exhibit, so it's part of the record. And the others, I think we have a sense, the board has a sense, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. You have a sense as to what it's about. Okay.
The only other evidence that we would submit is just a petition that, again, my client and his wife had done, signed by a lot of signatures, regarding the potential complex at issue here. So it's a petition to say that they object to that, and it has various signatures in
Okay.
them.
And are the addresses of the individuals on the petition?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they are.
I would have the same objection to this as evidence. You certainly come in as public comment for what it's worth for the industrial solar complex.
Okay. Gentlemen, this is similar to the last document. My recommendation, and if I'm wrong, please correct me because it's your decision, you would let this into the record and give it whatever weight you believe it should have. Is that acceptable?
Yeah. Just the way the other one was, just the way the other one was.
Ask for two?
Yep.
So you have asked for three.
I do. Mine is more, I have a PowerPoint that I can send to the township as well. It is aerial shots of our neighborhood just to show the character of what our neighborhood actually looks like. So that way it is in the exhibits as well.
What's the verbiage say?
Basically it's just telling you what I took what the picture is.
Can I see it?
Sure. Yeah. It's where I got the photos from, and if I took them with my own phone or my husband's phone, and what date and time, that kind of a thing. So I can know where I procured them from.
So these bylaws from realtor.com.
Those are from realtor.com. It's actually the property that we are talking about when they were selling the home across the street. That's where I got all these photos from. It's your property. And then if you scroll down, there's a couple from some of our neighbors back here to show their backyard and what it looks like from there. There's a couple from my home as well to show what is in my front yard. And then
It's a beautiful area.
the ordinances on there.
So far. Adjacent to the Appalachian Trail, it's
Hold on.
gorgeous, beautiful.
Hold on.
Solar farm. Joke.
I have no objections to the photographs and the description of it. There's a lot of other narrative in here, which is
That's right.
towards the end, which is.
Are you going to explain what it is?
Let me finish.
Okay. No.
There's some.
Right here.
I'm fine with the photographs coming in. The narrative in here, beyond describing what the photograph takes about, I would object to. But if it's describing where it came from, the view shed it's showing, that's fine coming in here. But other than that, I would object to the characterization.
Object to that if I can.
I would object to the characterization of that as evidence coming in here towards the end. There's that, and there's. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
the fact.
My question is that I'm trying to prove the character of our neighborhood.
Right.
So that's what I would like to be in the exhibit.
His objection specifically was not to the photographs, it was to the, I guess, the
Explanation
character.
of what it is.
Wait, hold on. The characterization of what appears on those photographs. Am I correct?
Yes. And there's some other narrative at the end.
Okay.
I mean, I can read one to you.
You don't have, no.
Um,
The board, the photographs are fine.
Yeah.
And you
But if
gave
I-
us, hold on. You gave us what they're about. And he has no objection to that. The characterization, though,
But it's not a characterization, it's saying where the photos are taken from.
tell you what, why don't we, gentlemen, if you find this acceptable, we'll admit those photographs with the language on them. And you will give whatever weight you think is relevant to the language that appears. Is that your language?
It
Or
is.
somebody else's?
It's just me.
Okay.
It's me writing to tell them exactly where the photo is, and
Okay.
it literally just states that.
Okay.
Where it's taken from and the directions. And
How will the township get those photographs?
I can email them to Mark if that's okay.
That's acceptable.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further evidence. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have further evidence, but I want to state that I was in the area to receive the letter of notice. So I believe I am within the distance allowable.
Well, that's a determination that is a legal determination. But
I was Rhonda Bender.
Ms. Bender, did you 60 Shellbar?
Correct.
Okay.
But when the attorney asked me if I lived within a certain distance, I didn't measure that distance, so I wasn't sure. But I did receive a letter, so I'm within the 2,500 feet.
Right, but you already provided evidence, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
But he objected to it.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That is it for evidence in opposition. Final stage is comment. Name, address, and you can make comment. Keep in mind, you've heard a lot of testimony. Keep in mind that the way this typically works is there are a lot of people here that may not be in favor of this. This is a comment period for anybody in favor or not in favor. And please keep your comments respectful. Who wants to go first?
Might be easiest if I go first and then other people can.
How long are you going to be? I'm just kidding, Mr. Duncan up there.
Yeah. Very short. I just, for comment purposes, I'd like to point out some of the ordinances that are of concern in this case. So as you guys know from your own ordinances, section 175-4, which deals with the purposes of the ordinances and the regulations, specifically say that one of the purposes, or some of the purposes, are to promote and protect public health, safety, and welfare of the residents. Part C says to conserve and stabilize property values through encouragement of appropriate use of land. And Part H says to preserve agricultural lands. I would also point out in section 144-10 of your ordinances, which defines terms, it says that agricultural activities, which I think that the testimony has been undisputed, that this is an agricultural neighborhood. That is the character of this neighborhood, is agricultural. And it specifically says under agricultural activities that construction of new buildings or impervious areas is not considered an agricultural activity.
What ordinance are you referring to, Mr. Duncan?
It's on your website, sir, so I pulled it up off your website.
Are you sure you're not looking at Butler County?
No, it says Cumberland County.
Is it our zoning ordinance, or?
Yeah, it just says through general municipality regulations on the website, so.
This is not our ordinance, I don't think.
Okay. The zoning officer pointed it out to me, and that's why I interrupted. I apologize.
That's okay.
But you're satisfied that it is a Middlesex Township ordinance?
I believe it is, but.
Could you read the section?
Sure, it might be.
I've tried to get on this township's website and I end up in Butler County.
Okay, so maybe that's what happened to me, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Either way, I'll address the bigger concern is whether or not this is an agricultural activity. I think it's fair to say that this is not an agricultural activity. And that's the character of this neighborhood. It's not whether or not the character of an individual piece of property that is right next door is affected by it. It's the overall neighborhood as a whole. And as the application permit says on the back, when they address these 9 areas that they have to address the issues. Number 1 in there is that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. Right? So that's the first part that I was talking about. And that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the adjoining nearby properties. That the conditional use will not affect a change in the character of the subject property's neighborhood. And that's what we're talking about here, is that the change in the character of the neighborhood. This is an agricultural neighborhood. The whole purpose of this area is for agriculture. And what we're taking is, you're taking prime, what's considered prime agricultural real estate, and you're turning it into a solar farm. And that changes the character of the neighborhood. And that is not shown in the petition's application. I will also point out, as they admitted in their testimony and in their application itself, it's their burden to come in here and show you, each and every one of the board members, that they have met all 9 of these requirements. It's their job to fulfill these requirements. It's not the residents' job to come in and say, we object to it. It's their job to show that they meet all 9 of these. They haven't done that. By their own admission, they've said, we didn't submit this, we didn't submit that, we didn't submit that. What they didn't submit is the things that they know they're going to have difficulty meeting. Right? So the stormwater planning. It says in there that it's required that you have to show that these things are met. And that's the way that you meet it. They did that when it came to the glare study, for example, and the noise study. Those are areas that they addressed. But when it comes to the issue, in particular as to the stormwater and the environmental effects, their petition is silent. Their application is silent about those things. It doesn't give you the information that you guys need to make an informed decision on this conditional use permit. The proposed use is simply not consistent with the neighborhood, and it will have difficulties, and it is up to the board and up to the ordinances in effect here to determine whether or not these panels are impervious or pervious. And their own witness agreed that if they are determined by you to be impervious to rainwater, that affects their ability to meet the stormwater requirements and management planning. So, at the end of the day, the property values are affected negatively, as studies have shown, especially in rural areas. In urban areas, which they will no doubt point to, in urban areas there has been shown no effect to affect property values. But in rural areas, at least one study conducted as close as 2023 in general showed that property values decrease for the surrounding properties for these very type of solar panels and solar panel farms. I think that, as you can see from the turnout here at 7:30 this morning, that many in the neighborhood, and I'm sure you'll hear from them, have argued that that these things are inconsistent with their neighborhood and they're not properly accounted for in the petition, and therefore the conditional use permit should be denied.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Any further comments? I know who you are now, Mr. Chair. I'm going to go behind you. Somebody might know.
My name's Ken Moore, I'm at 51 Ridge Drive.
Last name, how do you spell it?
M-O-R-E. My concern is if this is a fire issue, which I say it does raise the risk, are we going to be paying for our fire company to get trained for this? Is there any, any pay that they will, are they going to pick up the financial burden to that? Is the fire company going to need more equipment that they don't have for this? And my other concern is, I lived in Montana for a while. I saw a wheat fire. You know how fast a wheat fire spreads? With a little bit of wind, like we have at 51 Ridge Drive, you can't hardly stand up sometimes. So if we were in a drought situation, I think we're in a much more increased risk.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Mr. Chip.
I really just wanted to add to what the attorney said here, that
Add to or repeat?
Well, not really, no. I am against the project, obviously, but certainly if it's going to go forward, I think that they should have to bring evidence in on to the effect of what it's going to do to our property values. I'm not convinced that there won't be a negative effect on those values, and I think without that, they should not be allowed to.
Understood. Any This is for comments only.
Well, it's a comment, just throwing it out there.
A rhetorical question?
Oh, Cheryl, I'm sorry, Cheryl C. Jarway out of Collins, Collins, 100 Hickory Town Road, Carlisle, PA, 17015. Now you made me my ball. Give me a minute, maybe you'll come back. Oh, the walls. When they're talking about questions to them, and a comment, whatever, they're talking about putting up a barrier wall, and my mind thinks it will be see on 81. How's that gonna work in a residential area? I mean, what is the effects on that? I mean, I understand 81 because you got trucks and everything going by and those people need that. But in a residential area by the houses that are literally bordering that property, what are those walls gonna, what's the purpose of them? Other than, what is the purpose of them? Okay, what? For view, for sound, for water runoff, what is the purpose of it? In a residential area? That is my question, comment, whatever. However you want to perceive it.
It's a question. Anybody else have any comments? Yes, sir. Name again.
Stan Hurst. I just want to comment on that 40 dB is a low level, but it is not a silent room. It would be comparable to a light rain, birds in the background, a babbling brook, that kind of thing. These are all things that can be heard, but they are not objectionable. High frequencies, low frequency noise is objectionable. You are not going to find it pleasant. And while it's quiet, and the further you get away from it, it's going to go down even more. It is still, when you are within that distance, it is going to be heard.
Thank you. Any other comment? Yes, ma'am.
Nancy Walter, 51 Ridge Drive. I just find it very telling that that their team has spent this entire morning trying to mitigate all the negatives. The sound, the view, the water runoff, like all the awful things about it. Never once were they able to say, this is going to be great for your neighborhood because this is going to help you because this is going to make your life better. Like, there has been none of that. It has all been this trying to convince us that all these negative aspects are not an issue.
What's possible?
And they are an issue, or they wouldn't have spent all this time trying to convince us of it.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Asper.
I'm just asking, is this finished as of today? Because I actually have an expert that I would like to bring in.
It is finished as of today. This hearing had been continued from more than a month ago
But
previously.
we asked for it to be at a 7 p.m. meeting, but you said no because
The request
they
by the
requested that.
applicant wanted the same
But our
time.
expert couldn't
Hold
come
on,
in.
hold on, one at a time. You're right, I did. It's gonna be in the morning because that was the request made by the applicant. At that point, we had to get the applicant's consent to a continuance. We can't do that beyond 60 days of the date of the application submission.
I understand.
So what is your comment?
Well, I would like to request that we have another meeting at 7 p.m. to bring in an expert that we have.
Mr. Sir.
I would object to that. The hearing is here. Again, as you said, we were in front of the planning commission 3 times, and there was a month delay the last time, and this is the time and place for the hearing.
But I was at the first hearing.
Gentlemen, there's been a request for continuance. What is your position on that? I see Mr. Geisler shaking his head.
I don't see a need for it.
Okay.
Well,
Mr. Goodhart, hold on. I'm talking to the board.
Can I at least tell you who the expert is?
No.
So they know.
No. Do you want to hear expert testimony in another hearing?
I'm a bad expert at that. What's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? Already heard.
I don't know. I don't want to want to hear, I don't want to hear what her
Yeah.
expert is going to say. The question is whether you want to entertain it. This was advertised months ago.
Yes.
It was continued. The application has been available for weeks here at the office, given the notice that was published. So
No sense in dragging it out.
it's whether you want to make a decision now or entertain an expert. Mr. Goodhart? No? Mr. Geiswig, no?
I think it's all I think we need to figure this out and wrap it up. At the moment, I'm not sure what to think.
So we have two that say no to extending this to allow an expert report. Okay, that is the answer. Yes, sir. Not you, Mr. Cliff. Jake, not you. Yes. No, you. I forget your name. You spoke this was the first one.
It's been a while. I'm Jim Fetting, and it's F-E-G-E-N. And just have a comment. I don't think that this is going to be a one-time event. It's clear that our farmers are hearing from people from Atlanta. We've got large conglomerates looking. We have to kind of decide as a town what we want to be, a township we want to be. And by the way, I respect when you do a tough job, and thank you for your service, no question about it. But I think we're going to need a plan so that the farmers, by the way, know kind of what the opportunities are as well, because they're getting the calls, all right? And by the way, I understand Ralph's side of this as well, okay? I completely understand it, but I think you should deal with you're in a neighborhood, and I don't think anybody in this room is against solar power. I think they're just against the location of where this solar power is going. But I think a plan that the farmers can be informed about what the township wants to be, what are going to be good uses for farmland. It's going to be, we're going to see a lot of change. By the way, a lot of people maybe in the room feel like we don't want any change. That's not going to happen, okay, because the world does change. We've got the Grange that's coming. That's going to be a very major change, okay? I'm not saying positive or negative. It's going to be a big change. It's going to be more kids in your schools, more things that are happening. Again, that's got to be part of the plan. What are we going to do with the farmland in this area that isn't going to be farmed going into the future? Just a thought, okay? That's the only comment I'm making. And I want to thank you guys for your service. It's not easy. This is a transition point for our township. What does this township want to be? There are people in this room that like the rural nature of this part of our township. Okay?
Mr. Chick, last time.
Right. I just have a little bit of a problem with the request for the continuance being denied, in that we got notice of this first, I don't remember when it came out, but it wasn't long before the meeting in June. We came here for the planning commission meeting. We were told 3 days later we were going to be doing this part. That got continued because of them. They asked for that continuance. And now they come in and object to this continuance, and it gets approved. I don't think that's right. I think you're denying us our due process in this. We have a right to have an expert testify, and I just feel like everything that they want is being approved and nothing we want is being approved. That's right.
Sir.
My name is Bob Toth, that's spelled T-O-T-H, reside at 31 Hoover Road, Carlisle. Along with what was just recently said, the request was made, as I understand it, the request was made to have an expert witness from this side of the process available here at 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know that this thing has to be terminated right now. One more day is what I think what the lady is asking for. And I don't think that that's too much to ask to get an expert witness on this side of the fence. 7 o'clock tonight, see what happens.
Well, I'm just asking for a 7 p.m.
That's up to her.
Well, I'm just asking for a 7 p.m. meeting since they do a 7 o'clock meeting.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
That's
but
okay.
Okay. Understood.
The point being, it doesn't have to be done right now.
Thank you, Mr.
It doesn't have to be terminated right now.
Final word by Mr. Cern.
Sure. Thank you, board members and members of the public for coming out here. There's a lot of information provided. Your ordinance is very detailed of what has to be provided for your consideration. You have a whole binder of information to go through it. We've tried to go through in a methodical manner to show what the ordinance standards are. Our obligation is to demonstrate compliance with the objective standards of the ordinance, which we did. Many of your ordinance standards are written in the negative, prove this does not happen, or show how you are handling things. So while they may come across as a negative, or you're looking at the bad things, we are certainly following the ordinance requirements for your objective standards within the ordinance. We've done that with the application. We've done that with the testimony that you heard this morning. As to the general standards, your solicitor can talk to you about your burdens of who has to prove what. And there's significant case law about that, about how the general health, safety, welfare standards are applicable. They are presumed to be met because it is a conditional use within this zoning district, and we're here for that. We provided testimony to supplement those standards that are there. Then there's a burden shifting back to the any objectors or intervening to produce evidence that those that both the objective as well as the subjective standards have not been met. And your solicitor can go through that. You've done conditional uses before, you understand the burden shifting, and it is very precisely defined within case law. I would also note that there seems to be an indication that the quote application as filed may not have had everything, therefore the application should be denied. There's case law on that also, which says the application that you're considering is what is filed as well as what is supplemented with testimony. This is the application. Everything we provided here, everything that has been provided by the testimony, as well as the comments that have been heard. So we believe that the application as being considered by you, of course, was complete, and it contains all the information. This is a difficult decision. We understand that. We believe that this is a use that can coexist. When it comes in, it will be different. It will be changed. It will no longer look like a farm field. We understand that. All development does that. Comes through here. However, that's not the standard, of course, of whether you would approve the conditional use. Again, the standard is, have the objective standards within the ordinance been met by evidence that's produced at the hearing? We believe that they have. Finally, there is a second step. Probably more after that. This is not the end game. There will be land development plans that come in, as with any project that has to do zoning process first. This is just approving the use. There will be land development plans which will go through all the details of construction. It'll go through stormwater. That's the normal process that goes through with that. And again, there's case law on that, which talks about when you have multiple steps in the process. This is not a provision where if there's an approval, we immediately start building. That's not the case. There's a lot of steps we have to go through. There will be a lot of review that goes through. We will be at the Planning Commission, probably multiple meetings. Your engineer will be looking at this with a fine-tooth comb. I know he's very good at stormwater review and stormwater compliance, and he will be looking at that. And we know we have to work with him to ensure compliance with the stormwater regulations that come through. Finally, when anything new comes into a neighborhood, there's the ongoing compliance issues. And that will also be with the applicant to work with the township on that. We can predict what the sound is, the noise, the glare is going to be, but we're committed to be working with the township as this gets installed, and we can work with them. We will be able to work with the first responders to make sure that this comes in safely into the community. So again, this is really just the first step in the process is the use approval. If that is favorably granted, we would then go forward with the land development plans, and all these issues, to the extent they can come up again, or if there's an issue because of design changes, will be revisited going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Geiswhite, with that statement made by applicant's counsel, you may declare the hearing closed.
I declare the hearing closed.
Now, at this point, you have a decision to make, and that is to entertain either a motion to approve the conditional use application or a motion to deny the conditional use application.
Anyway, we can have a little time to review some of the material.
To make a decision. Are you going to consider the material that's been submitted?
Yes.
Do the rest of you need that time?
If he needs it, that's fine, I can give him some time. How about 15 minutes, no? Steve? No, I mean, I'm being,
Do you need time now, or do you need time with intervening days
well,
in between?
this is a lot of stuff. You see it at one time.
It's the board's pleasure. You need time to review what you've received, and there should not be any outside influence because it's not in the hearing. Then you can have that time. And Mr. Sir, I know we have to continue a hearing to do this for the board to make a decision. And I think it's a 45-day period for a decision to be made.
Let me just check the rule.
He's saying.
He's checking the rule. In other words, he's checking to see if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah, you don't have to vote tonight. I just want to check the time period I granted to the board in my letter. I want to check that to make sure there's no issues, so I want to give you ample time.
Okay.
You provided a lot of information here today. I would like to understand it better. What can we expect?
Yeah, well,
I'll have to see. I think it's typically.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, the extension I granted was just for commencing the hearing. So, you know, you certainly would have, I believe, 45 days to issue your decision.
To make the decision.
Yeah, to make the decision and issue your written decision.
45 days from the last hearing on the matter.
Pardon me?
The law says 45 days
Right.
from the day of the last
hearing.
Correct, yeah, so you have 45 days to issue. So you would have time to consider and vote.
You have time to consider it and then make a decision at your meeting in August, or regular meeting in August. That is Wednesday, August 6th. Needs to have That is a 7 o'clock p.m. meeting. So you want to make your decision at that meeting?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Let's do a motion.
This is a lot of information.
Motion and a vote, it would be to,
A lot of it I haven't seen.
would be to have a decision made at the August 6th, 2025 regular meeting.
So moved.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
You're going to make a decision on the application Wednesday, August 6th at 7 p.m. during that meeting.
We got a lot to go through